Does size matter? Why size differs between species? The real question is yes. The answer is yes, but like,
we've all heard the saying, and as much as we want to disregard it as nonsense, there's actually a scientific answer to the question.
Yeah.
Get ready, because we've got the truth. Evolution has driven the development of the size and shape of the penis, and between species, the proportion of the penis to body size can vary greatly.
Facts. Like, if y'all have ever seen gorilla dingling, but if you look up duck dingling, I'm telling you, bro, them ducks, oh my god.
But why? Why are there different ratios of penis to body size in animals? It all has to do with natural and sexual selection. First, we know what you're thinking. What is the animal with the largest penis?
Cheered. X100. Waka watch DBZ abridged please or something scary after please day 2 of asking.
No.
Penis to body ratio. Sorry humans, but we didn't win this competition. The answer is the barnacle. You heard that right. The creature that lives on the sides of boats and the rocks of beaches has the largest penis to body size proportion out of any species.
Barnacles are real? Like animals? Like they actively move? That's like saying a plant has a huge penis. Like, I'm not.
The length of their body.
I'm not hearing it.
The reason that barnacles have such long, their penises can reach up to 10 times the length of their body.
What?
The reason that barnacles have such long penises is because they cannot move, and a mate might be a long ways away. When this happens, the barnacle elongates its penis to
10 times. Imagine Shaq with the dingling 10 times their own body. His own body. Shaq walking around with a 70-foot dingling, knocking down buildings. His dingling itself could cause 911 with a slash in between.
10 times its body size to copulate with a female counterpart. Going from small to gigantic, you might be surprised to learn that the largest animal on the planet also has one of the largest penis to body size proportions of the animal kingdom. Blue whales are on average 100 feet long, and the blue whale penis is between 8 to 12 feet in length. This gives it a penis to body ratio of about 10 to 1. That gives whale watching a whole new meaning. Snakes bring penis proportions to a whole other level, though.
But it's not the length
of the size, it's the number that's surprising. Snakes have 2 penises called hemipenes. That's right, not 1, but 2 penises. That's because of the way that snakes mate.
Imagine having 2 tips and you can just tickle your own tip with your other tip at all times. You get over there, you can be a tip lover with yourself. Is that homosexual? Is that gay? Rubbing your own tips together? Making love, you nut out of both tips and they land on each other's the other counterpart. Is that gay?
Snakes form what's called a mating ball, where around 100 males compete for a single female. And you thought dating apps were rough. With that kind of competition, it's advantageous to have a penis on either side of the body, just in case the snake finds itself next to the female. He wouldn't want to miss his chance.
100 on
just
1
is
is
insane.
insane.
The wrong way. What if someone had a penis that was the same size as their body? That'd be wild, right? Well, let us introduce you to the banana slug. It has a penis to body ratio of 1 to 1. Yeah, the banana slug's penis is the size of its entire body. That's impressive, except for the fact that the banana slug's mate sometimes eats the penis after copulation.
Eats? Imagine getting your girl pregnant and she was like, well, time to wrap it up, buddy. It's time for lunch. It's dinner time. We're having fresh shrimp.
So at that point, the banana slug ratio goes from 1 to 1 to 0 to 1. Ouch! Speaking of 0 to 1 ratios, you may be surprised to learn that the rooster, also known as a cock, has a penis to body ratio of 0 to 1. Roosters, like 97% of birds, don't have a penis outside their body at all. Instead, they have what's called a cloaca.
They have an internal penis, so they have a vagina. What?
Tiny nub that the rooster uses to deposit sperm into a chicken. The nicknames of animals don't always make sense, or is it the other nickname that doesn't? Other organisms not only have crazy penis to body proportions, but crazy penis shapes. Take a pig, for instance. They have a penis to body ratio of 1 to 2, meaning their penis can be half the length of their body. But that's not the craziest part. The pig penis.
I can't like imagine pig sex. Why does that hurt to like think about? Like pigs are like one of the last animals I imagine like getting on. Like imagine pig sex and then they're in mud too. It's the same as like having sex in the shower. Like they bathe in, but also
penis is an S shape, ending with a corkscrew. The shape allows male pigs to interlock with the female during mating to make sure the job gets done. And if you think that's
Their
wild,
penis is
the
a corkscrew?
tapir, which is about the same proportion of penis to body as a pig, has been known to use its penis to scratch its own back. Who knew the penis was such a versatile appendage?
They're like a saying
But
with
why
their
is there
tails.
such a
That's
variety
valid.
of penis proportions and shapes? All penises have the same function, except for maybe the tapirs. Really though, the penis has one main function, and that is to deliver the male's sperm into the female's reproductive system so that the egg can be fertilized in the fallopian tube and reproduction can happen. That's the true purpose of life in the animal kingdom, to create offspring and pass on your genes. So why the diversity of proportions for such a simple task?
Well, it's because if I assume it's because the vajayjays are different, you know? Like I heard giraffe vajayjays, they're like very they're uptight, like the eggs are uptight, so they have to have a long dingling. So when they're maneuvering, they have to like reach back there. You know, like yeah. But instead of having to do all that, they just have a long dingling.
Well, like everything else in biology, evolution plays an important role. If you think back to your high school science class, evolution is the
Having sex with my science teacher? Is that what we're getting to? How my science teacher made my dingling change sizes?
species over time.
Amazing memories.
More specifically, the process of natural selection, choosing which organisms have the best traits to survive and reproduce in their environment.
Chameleons
the
look
penis
like stoners.
obviously plays a role in the reproduction of species, and therefore evolution must have driven its development. And scientists have many different theories as to why penis proportions vary so much between species. One surprising trait of penises is that they're much more complicated than they should be.
Oh,
if
really?
the main function of the penis is to serve as a sperm delivery system, then why is it so complicated? Well, the shape and proportion of the penis most likely evolved to ensure that successful mating occurred as often
No, I want to see Bugs get some action on. What we doing? Put Bugs back on the screen.
as possible.
Come on now.
Other than dolphins, humans, and our primitive relatives, not many animals have sex just for fun or pleasure. So the shape and proportions of the penis did not evolve to create more pleasure for the females of the species, except maybe in humans, but more on that later. One theory as to why there are different penis proportions is because environmental factors in a species' habitat. Species that live in
That's why polar bears genetically have smaller penises, because their dingling's always cold.
high altitudes or colder climates tend to have larger penises. This is
That's completely opposite of what I said. What do you mean? So you telling me niggas in Antarctica? They don't live in Antarctica. People, niggas in Alaska packing like that? BS.
most likely due to different mating strategies in these regions. For example, animals like elephants and wildebeests that live in low altitudes with warm climates tend to live in large herds. In these environments and groupings, there's much more competition between males to mate with females. Males often fight one another for access to the right mate. Natural selection would select for a larger body size, which would help the males dominate their competitors. Once the fight has been won, it doesn't really matter the size of the penis because the male has exclusive rights to mate with the females of the herd. Therefore,
Poor penguins knowing that there's a seal waiting at sea just to come and grape them and then eat them. That's such a nasty life, bro. Seals are low-key like Jeffrey Dahmer when it comes for penguins. Jeffrey Seal. Interesting. They need to make a movie on that.
in warmer regions, it would seem that large bodies and small penises are more beneficial traits to have than the other way around. That is why species that live in warm lowland environments tend to have smaller penis to body size ratios. On the other hand, species that live in cold or high altitudes tend to be more solitary or isolated. This means less fighting for mates and more competition to make sure your sperm reaches the female's egg first. Take the walrus. They're known to have both one of the largest penises and penis to body size proportions out there of any animal in the world.
What's
they
the
live in
girth?
the frozen Arctic, which supports relatively few individuals.
What's the
Without
girth,
large
though?
populations, walruses tend to not come in contact with each other very often. And that's why, when sexual encounters occur, it's important that the male walrus is successful in passing on his
Nick, that's a child. Walrus. They are underage. Did you get consent from the parent? Even if you did. R. Kelly the walrus. What the
genes. Research in walruses and other animals suggests that the larger the penis, the more likely the male is to inseminate a female. Therefore, in cold environments, it's more beneficial to have a large
larger
penis
the
and a smaller
PP,
body.
the larger the PP, the more breedable you are. So if you have small PP, you're not really breedable for real.
Successfully mating is much more important than successfully winning a fight in these regions. Larger penises may deposit sperm closer to the fallopian tubes and thus give the sperm a better chance at reaching a
They're
female's
faster.
egg. Penises of the right size and shape may also...
That's why black people are fast. The long dingling creates faster sperm, which creates faster eggs. Wow, man, science is amazing.
Scoop out rival sperm from a different male during intercourse. Wild, we know, but in the game of reproduction, there can only be one winner. Evidence also suggests that penis proportions were driven by a second process of evolution as well. The name of this process is sexual selection. Sexual selection is when a specific trait is selected for by the sexual desires of a male or a female in a species. Most often, it's the female of a species that does the selecting.
Black woman, you could do a lot better than a ginger. I'll let you know that. You're lowering your standards. Okay? Tee up. Y'all can't even tell he's ginger. Now you can.
Species. Most often, it's the female of a species that does the selecting. The trait is chosen not because it helps the animal survive better, but because it's desirable to the opposite sex. Think of a peacock. The male peacock has extremely large, vibrant feathers. This is not a good trait to have.
I think a peacock was flirting with me when I went to the zoo because for some reason at the zoo they allowed animals that want to attack like peacocks to roam around, and a peacock was just like blocking my way and just shaking his feathers at me. Does he think I'm breedable? Should I act on that? Because that's basically the peacock giving me consent. So does that give me permission to act on that? I'm just saying. He came at me first. You feel me? Could I pile sexual assault against the cock? You feel me?
When trying to hide or get away from predators, but the female peahens will typically only mate with the peacocks with the brightest, most luxurious feathers. Therefore, peacocks risk their lives for beautiful feathers, because without them, the peahens wouldn't mate with them. No mating means no genes being passed on to the next generation like dull feathers
You're
or
too
penis
dark.
size. So what about penis shape
Same.
and proportion? Could the variety of penis proportions between species have been caused by sexual selection? Absolutely. Different species
I'm
have
still
different...
confused about the hemipenis. Cause like, you know, what if you tied your pee-pee in a knot while it's flaccid? You know your dingling is loose enough to do that. So what if you had the hemi and you made like a bow? Would that get you more women? Would they be impressed or would they be scared? Imagine removing your bottom ribs just so you can suck your own pee-pee. I think there was a rock star that did that. That man was insane.
Traits they find desirable. The penis is just another trait for a female when selecting a mate. Bigger might be better, or it might not be. It's up to the females. Really, what it comes down to is that the traits the females find most attractive are what gets passed down. So, for all intents and purposes, females oftentimes drive the evolution of males, and this includes penis size and proportion as well.
Okay.
It's important to remember that animals don't wear clothes. Now that seems like a silly sentence, but stay with us. Until recently, in the evolutionary scheme of things, even humans didn't wear clothes. So the penis was always hanging out for the females of a species to see and assess. There was no hiding or denying it. No matter what you may have heard female...
Yeah, back in the day, the roles were reversed. You see, women were scouting for their male partners. They were like, how low is that one hanging? Oh, no, the balls are too uptight. Those are not breedable. How about him? Ooh, the dingling singing low. Okay, it's going to his knees. Ooh, okay. Now that one might just be breedable. He has a very large sack, but the dingling to sack proportion is... you know what? This big sack must be breedable. I'll go ahead and get the sack. Like, that's how they used to do back in the day. That's how Harriet Tubman chose me to breed with.
Drove the variations we see today. Now let's talk a little bit about something a little closer to home, humans. If you're watching this video, you are most likely human. Humans are interesting because we have big brains and intelligence and culture, but we can't forget that we are animals too. Our big brains and other traits were selected for through natural and sexual selection, just like all the other living things on the planet.
Okay.
When talking about male genitalia, it's interesting to note that all human males have a larger penis to body size proportion than any of our closest primate relatives. Yay us! Why is that though? When we compare proportions of other primates, what we find is surprising. The largest primate, the silverback gorilla.
I'll be damned if Curious George had a bigger PP to body proportion than me. I'd be pressed. I'd be so pressed. I grew up watching you and now you trying to slap me with dingling? Curious, get away from me, bro. Okay, stay on trees. Why did the white man have a monkey? Was that a message about slavery? Was that like a parallel? Like, I don't get that. White people owning monkeys, like, bro, you're not slick.
May be able to rip your arms off without breaking
Racial
a sweat,
undertones.
but it also has the smallest penis at just 1 inch.
Damn!
This is likely
1 inch. Whew. Whew. Okay. Planet of the Apes was surrounded by a bunch of small dingaling.
due to the
Dang.
environment and social structure of gorillas. Since gorillas live in harems, it's much more advantageous for a gorilla to have a large body to fight off other males. Once
yes.
a male proves dominance, he can mate with all the females in his harem. Therefore,
yes.
there's no reason to have a large penis as a gorilla, and in fact, it would only get in the way. Our closest living relative in the
I feel
animal
that
kingdom
mine
is
get
the
in my way.
chimpanzee. Chimps have an average penis size of around 3 inches.
Wait, what he say?
Relative to have a large penis as a gorilla, and in fact, it would only get in the way. Our closest living relative in the animal kingdom is the chimpanzee. Chimps
We're closely related to chimps. That makes a lot of sense, because chimps are overly aggressive. They are such an aggressive animal. I remember watching this one video, and it was like 15 chimps jumping a group of 5 gorillas, bro. They jumped the gorillas, snatched the child, baby gorilla, and then came back a few hours later to jump the gorillas again. You know what that sounds like? White people when they were coming to steal America. I'm just saying, like, chimps are crazy.
have an average penis size of around 3 inches. This is over twice as large as the gorilla, and chimps are much smaller. So why the difference in proportion?
So I'm
And
a
what
chimp?
can that tell us about humans? Well, chimpanzees are notoriously promiscuous when it comes to sex with female chimps, usually having more than 3 mates at a time. This means that male chimps must do everything they can to make sure their sperm fertilizes the egg first. A larger penis correlates to a higher reproductive success in chimps, either because of its ability to scoop out rival sperm or to give its sperm a head start. So then what about us humans? Why do we have a larger proportion of penis size to body size than other primates? It would seem that human males have been placed under heavy sexual selection by human females. Several studies have found that women prefer a bigger penis in males. Remember, in early human history,
That's so nasty.
several studies have found that
Imagine
women
getting laughed out
prefer
the
a big-
door. That is so dirty.
your penis in males. Remember, in early human history, there were no clothing, so females could always see what the males were working with. It's during this time in early human history that females started selecting for larger penises, thus giving human males of today a larger penis to body size proportion than other primates.
So what you're telling me is Napoleon had a small pee-pee. You mean Genghis Khan was ruling the world with 2.5 inches? Is that what I'm hearing? How many inches did Jesus have? I'll ask him when I go up there. You better prepare for the question now.
It's interesting
That's my
to
first
note
question
that
to you.
recent studies have corroborated this theory, and that on average human females find larger penises to be more attractive in a male. However, height and body proportions also play a big role when females rate males on attractiveness. This suggests that not just penis size, but the proportion of penis size to body size was selected for by females of the past. If this is the case in humans, then there's no reason to assume it isn't true for other species as well.
Yeah, so you have to be proportionate. Like if you short, you need to have a small dingling so it looks proportionate. If it's too big, it's gonna look off. They gonna think that you really a horse from the bottom. And I don't see a lot of women breeding with horses unless they're country women. And some people don't want the country women, you know. Some people don't want to hear the country accent while they getting dick down. They don't want to hear. Oh yes, yeah, get deeper. Yeah, so hallelujah. This reminds me of 1930 when I was getting fucked by a Nick. You know, not everyone wants that.
We are all animals, after all. Basically, what it comes down to is that penis to body proportions vary between species because of natural and sexual selection, the environment, mating
I coughed, by the way.
practices,
I just said nig, but then I coughed. My throat was hurting, by the way.
social structure, and sexual characteristic preferences all played a role in creating the diversity of penises we see today. We're just all part of this planet called Earth, and we're all a product of evolution.
Facts. Guys, we have like the most diverse PP group, guys. We go all the way from micro dingalings to the Johnny Sins to the 12 inches. Honestly, we should be proud with the collections of PPs we've collected that we could study, look, suck, you know, just